Section 4.7, surface area of a cylinder. So remember what the surface area is going to be of a cylinder. The surface area, you're going to have to find all of the sides area added up. And of course, if you look at a cylinder, there's no corners here on this part, and the top and the bottom are both circles. So I'm going to draw out the pieces of this one here. So I'll make them about this side if we're looking down on the circle. So you'd get the top is a circle, and I'm going to make the bottom be a circle as well, because that's about the size of the bottom. There we go. And the only thing now we've got left is this part here. Now if you were to cut that directly from one top to the bottom of the, you can call it a can, because it's kind of shaped like a can here. If we were to slice it right here and then unfold it, now that we get the top and bottom removed, it would be in the shape of a rectangle. And the rectangle would be about the same height from there to there. So your rectangle would be something like that if we were to unfold it. And this is what we would end up with, the net that looks like that. Now that we've got this one here broken down into its pieces, all we have to do is calculate the area for this part here, which is a rectangle. And you know the area of a rectangle is going to be the length times the width, which is one side times the other side. And then we have to find the area of this circle. And of course the area of the other circle is going to be identical anyway. So you don't have to worry about the area of the bottom circle. We'll just double it in order to find it out. So once you find those three areas, you add them back together and you will get the entire surface area of that one. Now some important formula to remember for when you're talking about circles is the circumference of a circle. In other words, the distance around the circle is 2 pi r, pi being 3.14. The area of a circle is always going to be pi r squared. So as long as you know the radius, or even if you did know the diameter, you just take half of it for the radius. As long as you know that, you can figure out the area of a cylinder. All right, so let's take this one. Here's my 6 centimeters right there. So I'm going to put my 6 centimeters right there. My 5 centimeters is the height from top to bottom of the can. So there's my 5 centimeters down one side. Now the only issue I have is I don't know how long this is right here. However, if you fold it back up, you'll notice that this entire length here is really the distance around the circle because it folds right around the circle. In other words, this distance right here is really the circumference of the circle. So let's figure out what the circumference of the circle is by using this formula. And the formula is 2 pi r. We know the radius is 6. We know that pi is 3.14. And we know that 2 goes in front of it. So let's work that out using our calculator. So we've got 2 times 3.14 times 6. So the circumference is 37.68. So the circumference is 37.68. So I'm going to take this number, my circumference, and I'm going to use it for this side right here. So this side right here is 37.68. Now, of course, this is not drawn to scale, so it doesn't really look like 37.68. Now that we've got the circumference, we've got these two sides. All we have to do is multiply it together to get the area of this rectangle. So 37.68 times 5, and the area is 188.4 centimeters, and it's squared because we're dealing with area. Now, how to find the area of this circle? Well, you use the formula for the area of a circle. And the area of a circle is 3.14 times r squared. And r, remember, is 6. And then we're going to square it. So we just basically plugged in our radius into this formula. Let's work it out. Oops. And if we work that out, 6 times 6, we got to do our exponents first. So we've got 6 times 6 equals 36, and then we got to times that by 3.14. And our answer for the area of one of those circles equals 113.04. Now all we have to do is add the area of the rectangle, add the area of the top, and then we've got to add another one for the bottom. So let's add them together. So we've got 113.04 plus 113.04 plus 188.4. And the total answer, and the answer to our problem, is 414.48. So the surface area is 414.48 centimeters squared, because we're talking about area. So again, all you have to do when you're trying to find the surface area of any type of a cylinder is draw your rectangle for the cylinder, draw your two circles, and then calculate the area of a rectangle, calculate the area of a circle, and then double it, of course, because you have two circles that are exactly the same, and then add all three areas back together. Don't forget your formula to use. These two here are going to be very important because you're going to need to know the circumference of the circle to get the side of your rectangle. In section 4.8, the volume of a right cylinder, it will actually be a little bit easier because you don't have to figure out every single side. Remember, volume you're talking about if we were to fill up this cylinder, how much would you put into it in terms of cubic centimeters. So the volume, as we said with any kind of a shape, or solid in this case, is going to be the area of the base times the height. So in this case, the base is a circle. So we've got to find the area of a circle times the height. And the height here is 5 centimeters. So that one's the easy part. Now the area of a circle, if you remember your formula for the area of a circle, the area of a circle is pi r squared. So I'm going to put pi there. We know what pi is. Do we know what r is? Oh, the radius is 6. And then we're supposed to square it. So let's go ahead and rewrite the entire formula with everything punched in. So area equals pi times r squared. So I'm going to go 6 times 6. 6 times 6. Now I'll get my calculator and figure out what the area of that circle is. So it's 3.14 times 6 times 6 equals 113.04 centimeters squared. So that's the area of this right here. So now we can take that into our formula for the volume. Remember, the volume is the area of the base, which we just found out, times the height. Let's plug in all of our numbers now. The area of the base, which was a circle, is 113.04, and we're going to times that by the height of our cylinder, which is 5 centimeters. Multiply that together, and we'll have 113.04 times 5, and our answer is 565.2. So the volume is 565.2 centimeters cubed with a little 3. So this one's a little easier. Volume's sometimes a bit easier than doing surface area because we just got to find the area of the base, which is a circle, and then times it by the height of that cylinder. Here's another example where we're given the area of the base already, and then we're also given the height of 9. So remember, volume equals the area of the base times the height. So the area of the base is already given as 423. The height is 9. So when you work that out, you will end up with 423 times 9 equals 3,807 centimeters cubed because we're talking about volume. The only thing that could make this any more difficult is if maybe you were given the volume, maybe you were given the area of the base, so you're given these two things, and you're not given the height, and you're asked to solve for the height. And if you're asked to solve for the height, so if the volume equals the area of the base times the height, and you're asked to solve for the height, because that's the only thing you don't know, all you'd have to do is divide it by the area of the base, and divide it by the area of the base, whatever you work that out as, and you would end up with stuff canceling, and the height is going to be equal to the volume over the area of the base. So in other words, you'd have to do a little bit of algebra to figure out and solve for h, the height of the cylinder.